Hey, everybody, Mark Horner with a bit of breaking news on what is still, actually, it's 12 o'clock midnight, so it's officially August 2nd, Monday now, as of this very minute. Christian Sassi joins me from Vancouver, British Columbia. The topic is wildfires in this breaking news. Christian, thank you for joining me from the Vancouver area of British Columbia. How you doing tonight? A little apprehensive, I bet.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks for having me here. Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. So just so we can set the stage here, the photograph behind Christian, he took that picture on Tuesday. It's from Lake Okanagan, which is east of Vancouver. You have to go over the mountains as you travel east and come into this kind of upper Sonoran desert type area. Lake Okanagan's a very large lake, and along that lake is a town or city rather of Kelowna. And that's where Christian recently purchased a second home, a summer home. And he and his wife were there until the skies just got too choked up with smoky air. And just 10 miles down the road, as of this moment, there are evacuations taking place. Christian, kind of tell me, if you would please, and we'll show a map here in just a moment, about where the evacuation is. Is it north of Kelowna, south of Kelowna? And you were in West Kelowna, right?
Yeah, that's correct. So thank you, Mark. So if you look at the Okanagan Lake, it is located north-south. So on the southern end, in this case, we call the Central Okanagan, you have Kelowna. And north of that is Vernon. It's a very well-known area. And we are there on the west side. So we are quite in the middle between Vernon and Kelowna, right? And this is now on evacuation order. And there is a place that is about 10 miles north of our holiday resort that is at the moment under evacuation order. So we are under alert, they are under order. And I don't know anything more about the fire, how it originated or so. I just know that this is quite serious.
Okay, thank you for that. So for the benefit of just backing up with a visual to help people understand the lay of the land, if you will, I'm going to bring up this map. I don't know how well you can see it. Do you see it right now, Christian?
Yes, I do. Yes, you can also bring it via screen share, but it's okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to go to where Lake Okanagan is. So first, I might just zoom back out so we can see Washington State down here.
That's correct. Yes.
And we're going to go to Lake Okanagan, just north of the state of Washington, central Washington, and Kelowna is right in this area.
That's correct. That's correct. You got it.
Right here. So on the left of this bridge is West Kelowna over here.
That's correct.
And so we go about, did you say 10 miles north?
No. You go between Kelowna and Vernon. It's just going, you see where that little bump is? That's about the area. Yeah, it's on the, yeah. If you bring it a little bit, if you go up a little bit more, somewhere around that area there. Yes, that's around that area there where that.
Oh, okay.
Somewhere around there, yes, and that's where at the moment the alert is. And if you go further north of that, that's where the evacuation orders. It's quite difficult to see, Mark. I'm just trying to look at them compared with the map. Yes, you see where.
Well, you know what, Christian, if you don't mind,
there you go.
You gave us this excellent resource a bit earlier. So this isn't just word of mouth, folks. We're going to talk about we're going to source an official channel here for you. So this is the Central Okanagan Emergency Operations. Again, this is when we talk about the Okanagan, I know that gets the ears of people in Washington State as well, because there's an Okanagan area. But this is in British Columbia, southern British Columbia, just north of Washington State. And this area right up here, Christian, right? This red area is the area where the evacuations, you say, are taking place. And that's what this red signifies in this map. We're going to take a closer look at this map, but just above it here in this link, the tab, latest updates, Christian gave me the heads up that there's some significant information here in terms of sourcing. And it says White Rock Lake wildfire prompts evacuation alert, RDCO West Electoral Area. And this is why it's breaking news. This was 9:58 p.m., so just a couple of hours ago. And the lead sentence is, the White Rock Lake wildfire has prompted an evacuation alert for the regional district of the Central Okanagan, RDCO West Electoral Area. All properties access from West Side Road, located between West Shore Estates and Bear Forest Service Road, north of Traders Cove. So we're getting very granular, very specific information here. Are on evacuation alert. A map showing affected properties can be viewed at this website here, which I think is where we just were. And we're going to go back to that. So,
correct, Mark. Yes.
So anything, I could read the whole thing, Christian, but it might be a little bit too specific for the general audience. But this ties into that red area that you were alluding to just a moment ago, right?
That's completely correct. And we actually have friends there who've just evacuated a few minutes ago. So it's unfortunately very serious. It's sad because this is a result that we've had from the incredible droughts and extreme temperatures that we've seen about it's now, oh gosh, it's about 4 weeks ago, 4 to 5 weeks ago, where we've had these extreme temperatures in June, actually. That's right. It was in June, and we had this temperatures above 110 Fahrenheit or 44 to 46 degrees Celsius. That was quite high. And it's never really recovered. It did rain a little bit today, as we saw, but by far too little. And since then, in the Okanagan, we've had more fires in a place called Osoyoos. There were some fires, and north of that there were some fires, but they got them under control. That was the one that was on the east side. It was closer to Washington State, actually, to the border. And now, for the first time, we're seeing them on the west side. So yeah, I'm sorry. It is concerning. It is really concerning. Yes.
So that folks can kind of help frame this, and we can frame it for them in their mind. Because you bought your home there, your second home, or your summer home, it was just probably 2 or 3 months ago.
Yes, correct. That's correct.
You've seen the impact since that day one on the local landscapes, I'm sure, in terms of just how dry it's been getting there.
Yes. Yeah, that's completely correct. I'm not using. I mean, we live here in Canada, right? On 50 degrees north. That is very far north, and it's true. It doesn't rain much in that area, but usually, it's we've had wildfires in summer, although not this dangerous. There were some in Penticton a few years ago. I think it was 2017 where they had some fires. But I think what we're seeing at the moment is unfortunately a lot more severe. And unfortunately, we also know that about 50% of them are caused by irresponsible or also sometimes accidental interference from people, right? It's so the other 50% probably from lightning, right? That's what we know. And actually, all the forest roads are closed now. The parks are closed because they are afraid of some sparks that come off from combustion, from the exhaust and so on, for very good reasons, right? But still, we have fires developing. So yeah, it's August. It's going to be a long August.
To help give some even added context, and this really stayed with me after you shared it with me earlier. For folks who don't know, Christian is an excellent wildlife photographer, and at this site that you see behind him nearby, there's an osprey nest, and he was really excited to live stream with his 800 millimeter lens developments at that nest. But sadly, it just got too hot. And Christian, you firmly believe it was the heat that resulted in the deaths of I don't know if it was more than one young osprey.
Yes. Yeah, it's very sad. The ospreys have a higher body temperature than our body temperature, Mark, so they can withstand a lot more. But I think their body temperature is, if I remember correctly, it's about 110 Fahrenheit. So it's about at least 10 degrees higher than the human body temperature. So that helps them cope with heat a lot better. The problem is once that exceeds, the only way to cool yourself off is with water, right? It's quite simple. So that's why the lake also becomes, for the adults, the savior. They just go and dive. I've seen it many times. They just dive straight into the lake. But the little ones whose wing structure is not developed have no escape, and they usually, in that case, either get a heat stroke or they just jump out of the nest. That's why the wildlife rescue centers have received an unprecedented number of juveniles of all kinds of different raptors, right? It's quite sad. And when I was there with eagle biologist David Hancock a few weeks ago, and we went after this incredible heat wave, we went to about 14 ospreys, and 13 of them were unoccupied. So only in one we saw a juvenile osprey, and to this day, I wonder how it even survived. It's actually a miracle because, I don't understand it from a science point of view, how it could actually survive because, the temperature was so high, but for some miraculous reason, it fortunately did survive. Yeah.
So you went to 14 osprey nests around that lake area.
Yes.
And 13 of them were empty.
Yes, and empty doesn't, you could argue, well, maybe they were empty before. I cannot confirm that these were all occupied, but I can confirm that I look a lot at osprey nests and that they were occupied. A lot of them were occupied, before the heat wave. That I know for sure.
So the bottom line tonight, you've left your nest, if you will, over in Kelowna, near the shores of Lake Okanagan or Okanagan Lake.
Yes.
And so we're glad that you're safe. But just how apprehensive are you? How difficult will it be to sleep? Are you going to be online following the latest updates?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I was lucky, of course, because we have a place to go, and I mean, goodness me, we'd offer a place for anybody who needs help, to come and stay with us. I mean, this is absolutely no questions asked because it's really serious. We already told this to our friends and so on. It's very serious. I left on Tuesday because, well, you could say it was just a bad feeling, just a bad feeling because, the view you see behind, you can see the red sun, which, by the way, has moved the same view that you probably also have where you are near Seattle now, Mark, and we have in Vancouver, right? So the smoke is moving over here too, but the lake that you see there in the background, when I left, you couldn't even see the lake anymore. And in subsequent days, what I could see from webcams and so on, it hasn't improved because there's such a lack of wind. And then you ask yourself, is wind any good? Because, wind, if there are wildfires, you don't want wind either. So the only thing you can pray for is rain. So yes, we are very apprehensive, and fingers crossed. Okay.
Yeah. All right, Christian. Well, I'm very, very generous with your time this evening. I really appreciate it. So just to the bottom line, Christian is in the Vancouver area. He returned to his home in that area on Tuesday of this past week. Prior to that, he was over in Kelowna, West Kelowna, that area where he has a summer home.
That is completely correct, yes.
Right. And he left. The air was just getting too smoke filled, and he and his wife returned to their primary home in the Vancouver area. But just 10 miles up the road from that home that Christian left last week now, in Kelowna, just 10 miles north of there, along Lake Okanagan, there's an area that's being evacuated. And Christian, have you heard the language specifically that people of Kelowna or West Kelowna need to be advised or on alert, be prepared to evacuate? Have you heard that in any official language?
We just know that all these areas have, of course, very good communications on social media now. So I haven't heard it officially. I don't know that. But I do know from our friends, if they get an evacuation order, they would have been called, right? That's alert is not being alert is word of mouth. But when it comes to an order, you do get called, right? So it's I don't even know at the moment how much time they have. I can tell you only one thing, and that's a good advice. I did a test with myself last Tuesday, right, when I left, and I thought, well, I've got my photographic equipment and so on, because that's what I do, wildlife and astronomy. So I'm going to pack the car. And I thought, well, it's going to take me 5 minutes because I packed everything very proper. It should. You know how long it took me? 1 hour. And that's not good. So my message is very clear. I completely underestimated the time it would take me because there were so many small things that came up all the time, just all the time, that I'd forgotten. Oh my goodness, I forgot this. And yeah, well, maybe I should take this too, and so on. So you can never be well enough prepared. I did have a full fuel tank, which is extremely important. It's extremely important. But if I had been under emergency evacuation, I would have completely failed. Okay, and that I would like to say as a warning: do not do that, my
Right.
friends. Really, that's what I can say.
Right. I can understand how that you have a lot of photography gear, a lot of invested in photography gear, tripods, lenses, and other devices that let you follow the moon and the
Yes,
sun and see the sun.
right.
So I can see how you'd say, why, these things are hard to get, they're expensive, blah, blah,
Yes,
blah, but nothing is more precious than life. So
yes.
that's really good advice to be prepared and have your priorities set. And just to bottom line it again, we're talking about an area of concern about 10 miles north of West Kelowna, then, that's referred to now as the White Rock Lake wildfire.
Yes,
And it
correct.
has prompted an evacuation alert for the regional district of the Central Okanagan West Electoral Area. That's in southern British Columbia. So that is specifically what we're referring to here. So let me just come over to my other monitor and we'll end the screen share here. And we'll do a proper farewell. But before we say goodbye, Christian, I do want to say to you, if you don't mind sticking around just a few extra minutes for the
Oh,
post
of course
show.
I will. That's
So, yeah.
course, it's fine.
Yeah, thank you. And we certainly hope that your area and all of that area is spared and that firefighters can get the upper hand and that people will soon be returning to their homes if they're having to leave them this night / now this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark.
You're most welcome. If folks would like to help support this channel, there is a Patreon channel and it's patreon.com/beyond 90 seconds. Or if you like this video, you like this type of content, if you just hit that like button, that goes a long way with YouTube's algorithm so that people can find us. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much for watching. And if you're watching the replay, thank you for making it